Alright then, it's time to get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to USstreamer for October 30th, the special Halloween edition, in which I'm playing yet another Castlevania game. But this is not just any Castlevania game, this is Castlevania. I'm Jeremy Parrish, and you're going to witness me as I attempt to beat this game. I make no promises as to my worthiness. This is a tough game, and it's been a while since I've played it through. But I'm hoping that muscle memory saves the day. I'm going to be keeping one eye on the chat room, which is really difficult when you're playing a tough action game, but I'll do my best to respond to questions and comments and so on and so forth. Oh, I missed the jump. I could even hear it. I could hear the little hidden object by the door popping out, but I mistimed my pixels. How sad. So we're already off to a bad start. Oh, but here's holy water, so that's kind of a good start. So as I wander through the really super simple zombies, let's talk a little bit about Castlevania. So Castlevania dates back to October of 1986. It was released on the Japanese Famicom, the NES, and the Japanese MSX. Around the same time, I think the Famicom version came out about a month before the MSX version. Oh, and come on, there we go. Anyway, the MSX version is totally different, but the NES one, the Famicom one, came to the US on NES and launched a series. In 1986, this was a pretty amazing looking game. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be gothic horror, and yet there are those bright neon greens in the background, but what can you do? The NES had like 52, 54 colors to work with. You gotta work within your limits. Despite that, it has really tight controls. It's a very challenging game because of the way the controls work, but it's really, really tightly designed around the limitations within the game. The music is fantastic. It has really great level design, lots of secrets, lots of interesting challenges, and there's hearts, but the hearts, the hearts are not like hearts in Zelda. They don't restore your health, as you can see by my lack of energy from hitting the bat over there. Oh man, come on. Hearts are actually to power sub-weapons like the holy water that I've collected. I'm really not doing so well here. But that's okay, because you can do a little bit of limited backtracking in Castlevania. And there's there's wall meat for you to savor. I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea to eat meat that you find hidden in the walls of a crumbling castle of the undead, but it restores Simon's health, so what can you do? Anyway, so here you're in the basement of the castle because the stairway was broken, so you have to take the detour underwater. One of the neat little things about Castlevania that I always talk about whenever I discuss it, aside from the random hidden treasures, is the fact that the architecture in the game lines up. So when I go upstairs, watch the columns in the background, the whitish gray objects, they actually match up with the columns above ground. So there's kind of this internal consistency with the castle. They really sat down and said, like, how does this castle work? Even though it's a platform game, there aren't really floating platforms just hanging out in the middle of the sky. Everything is kind of connected and architectural. So they were really trying to make it look like a movie set, I think, which really... a theory that plays out when you watch the ending credits, which I don't promise we'll be able to do. Just picked up an invisibility potion that makes me invincible. The ending credits play out like movie credits, basically, complete with fake satirical names based on classic horror actors that neglects to give any credit whatsoever to the people who created Castlevania, but what can you do? I just got a weapon multiplier, which has the ability to let me throw 2 of my sub-weapons at a time, which makes really short work of the vampire bat there. So that was the first boss, the first stage. Now you can whip and hope for a cool, yes, ending midair. There are 6 stages in all. Each stage has a boss. The bosses grow progressively more difficult. The way I'm playing right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat the tougher bosses, but we'll do our best. Anyway, so there's a map at the end of each stage where you see the boss you're advancing toward, and that kind of accurately represents the layout of the castle. So I've gone from the entrance into, I don't know, I guess the inner halls here. I've picked up a new sub-weapon, the boomerang, which is pretty great. It passes through most enemies, except armored enemies, which it bounces off of, which is kind of a neat little realistic touch. Yep, more hidden treasure, don't know why, it's there. But it's worth 2,000 points. Points are worth nothing unless you're going for like a Nintendo Power high score contest, but I'm getting points anyway. So I'm going to pause really fast and take a look at the chat. I've been playing for like 5 minutes without any looking at the chat. Alright, so let's see. Someone said that Kat Bailey says I'm a savant at this game. That's not true. You're going to watch how much of a not savant that I am. Let's see. Someone says I should be a DLC character for Harmony of Dissonance. Alright, I can see this is really constructive, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep playing. Let's see. Something I kind of didn't touch on when I started playing was the fact that Simon Belmont starts with a puny little leather whip. The vampire killer is actually not all that legendary when you first start playing, but you get little power-ups that make your whip stronger and then longer, and I've already gotten a 1-up, so I guess there was a purpose to getting points after all. Each stage is broken into subsections. I guess you could call them levels, and then stages are the individual portions. This is the 5th stage, which is the second stage of the second area of the second level. I don't know. Anyway, this is the 5th segment, basically. Medusa, they are the ultimate horrible enemy. At least they were until Ninja Gaiden's birds came along. They fly in really irritating sine wave patterns, and even though they're consistent and predictable, they're really irritating, especially when you're trying to do platforms. I think in the second pass through the game, if you duck here, there's a treasure that pops up. Evidently not in the first pass through the game, so sorry about that. No special treasures for you this time around. Let's see. So here's where the game actually starts to get a little bit challenging, because you have these Medusas flying in. Oh, dropping you into pits. Collision detection is a little generous toward the enemies. I was actually ducking beneath that Medusa and it still hit me. Anyway, so I've collected 1 power-up to make the whip stronger. Ooh. And as you can see, it's a stubby little sad whip. But once you collect 9 hearts, no, 10 hearts, you get your, oh, I guess it's 9. And then the second power-up, whip power-up will drop from the next candle you hit that would normally have a single heart in it. Fascinating details about Castlevania that you never needed to know. Take that, Medusa. Some people like to speedrun the game by causing those Medusas to hit them up into the level above, the platforms above, because, you know, when as you've noticed, when Simon gets hit, he kind of flies backward a little bit, and you can actually use the lift that being hit by a Medusa at the peak of your jump to cause you to clip through the platforms above, which is, you know, just, if you're into that sort of thing, that's great. It's more meat hidden in the walls. Moving platforms to make Medusa's sine wave even more irritating. Although I guess if you're fast enough, then you don't have to deal with Medusas. Oh, right at the door. So close to freedom, and yet no luck. So they knew that was a really difficult area, so they gave you another meat right away. It's very generous here in the early going of the game. Something else you might have noticed is that Simon takes a set amount of damage from enemies. That varies according to the area that you're in. And by the end of the game, you can only take 3 hits before you die. It's really sad. Really? That was lame. Alright, so I think that was a ghost that I just killed, and I'm trying to kill that guy. There we go. Oh, and I don't get the heart for my troubles. But I do get, oh, double and triple. Nice. So as you kill enemies with the sub-weapons, after a while, eventually you kill enough and the game rewards you with one of those the score multipliers or the attack multipliers, which is pretty handy. They also drop in certain set areas, so that's why I went suddenly from having a single attack with the holy water to a triple attack. Isn't that great? Yes. So now the trick is not to pick up some crappy weapon that I don't need by accident, because once you pick up a sub-weapon, that's it. You lose the other sub-weapon. The later Castlevania games, starting with Rondo of Blood, often would let you swap out weapons. Like if you picked one up and you didn't want it, the other one would drop behind you, and you could switch over to that. Anyway, so time's running short, so I'm gonna fight the next boss, who's going to be just kind of embarrassingly easy because I have a triple holy water multiplier. So that's Medusa. She doesn't turn you to stone. She just flies around as a head and causes little snakes to zip out at you. But I'm a little embarrassed about how badly that went. But triple holy water is kind of the easy beat the game approach to Castlevania. As much as anything about Castlevania is easy. So, we are now on to the next stage. The really cool music theme called Wicked Child. The music in the game was by... oh, crap. I forgot her name. She's a really nice lady. I met her. She's like my age, which is really crazy because I was a kid in junior high, I think, when this game came out. Younger than that, actually. I was in elementary school, so she must have been like a child genius. Those little guys who are making short work of me are fleamen, and they're the worst. Skeletons, not nearly so bad by comparison. So the damage value for this stage, enemies now hit me for 3 points of damage instead of 2, so I can take fewer hits, which gets really kind of dangerous when you start dealing with those stupid fleamen. Also these crows who love to fly out of nowhere and knock you into ledges. One of the nice things about these staircases, even though they don't really make much sense and they're just kind of in the middle of nowhere, when you're standing on a staircase, you can't be knocked back by enemies. So when you're up against like those ravens, it's kind of a handy little trick to... yeah, I don't want that. It's a kind of handy trick to avoid being knocked back into a pit by an unlucky hit by kind of exploiting that mechanic a little bit. In later Castlevania games, you can jump on and off the staircases, and I think you can also be knocked off of them, so really, there's that hit detection again. Medusa's the worst. Oh. Wow, I'm not doing so well here. This is what you get for calling me a savant on stream. Anyway, so climbing up the staircase, there's another hidden treasure here that I will get because I do stupid things like that. Yeah, I don't know why that's there either. There we go. The stopwatch, I guess, is theoretically useful, but actually is not much good against most enemies. Oh, come on. So I'm probably going to lose my cool holy water multiplier, and that makes me sad. No! So much for that. Oh, people on stream have mentioned that the composer was Kinuya Yamashita. Yamashita, however you want to pronounce it. I'm terrible with pronunciation. Anyway, she's cool. She's really nice. I met her once at Video Games Live, and I was like, how the hell are you so young when you created this game from 1986? I think she was actually a college student freelancing for Konami at the time. That might explain it. Maybe she was like a child genius, you know, like the Doogie Howser of video game music. So I don't actually want the clock, but I guess I can show you what it's good for. Yeah, it freezes things, which means you have a chance to attack those stupid dragon heads without taking a hit. So, which is especially handy there, where you could be knocked back into a pit. So okay, I unfairly impugned the stopwatch. It can have its uses at times. It looks like we're at about the 15-minute mark. So hi, if you're just joining in the stream, you're here to watch Jeremy Parrish from USgamer die horribly playing Castlevania. I'm on the 3rd stage here. I've already died once. It's pathetic, and I'm on my way to the mummies. Please do not make any horrible Doctor Who references whenever I say mummy, because that episode sucked. Hey look, there's Dracula's lair in the background. I'll probably never get to that point. Not during this stream, anyway. Oh, that was nice. Alright, so I've got a knife against the mummies. That's not so great. Alright, so this is the next boss. There's actually 2 dudes that attack you at once, and it sucks. Because they just walk right into you. Man, you guys are the worst. You suck. Alright. So, that was me barely pulling through the mummy battle, which is one of the easier battles in the game, so optimistic feelings are not welling up in my heart right now. It's going to be a long, hard slog to the end, or at least to the end of the hour, as I repeatedly die and embarrass myself in public. Oh, someone dropped a reference to the Castle of Caliostro, which, yeah, the Castle of Caliostro, the Lupin the Third movie, which was directed by Hayao Miyazaki. People have noticed some credits, or some similarities. Oh, pfft, that was pathetic. Wow. People have noticed some similarities between Castle of Cagliostro and some of the artwork in Castlevania games, especially Castlevania 3, but it's a nice little reference. That was a pretty popular game or film in Japan. So it doesn't surprise me that it kind of set the tone for people's interpretation of Europe in pop culture. Because, of course, Castlevania is meant to take place somewhere in Europe. So I don't know how Simon survived that really long drop from the mummy's lair. Oh, I want that. No, don't die. Ah. Okay, maybe I need to actually pay attention to what I'm doing instead of just talking. This is actually... shouldn't be that hard. I can usually get to, you know, like, Frankenstein before I start dying, so I'm not impressing the ladies here tonight. Anyway, Castlevania takes place in Central Europe, near the Wallachia area of Romania, which is, of course, in Transylvania. None of this matters whatsoever because it's just a goofy, schlocky horror movie, and I just got an extra 1-up for whatever good that will do me. This is a tricky little bit. You have to duck underneath those low rock outcroppings, otherwise you'll fall into the water. And you're very vulnerable when you do it, which is kind of annoying. Whoa. That little pause when you get the whip power-up is sometimes kind of annoying if you're in the middle of a tricky situation. So I've emerged from the basement of the castle out into the courtyard. I have to work my way back into Dracula's inner sanctum. Meanwhile, birds are dropping those horrible little fleamen at me. They're the worst. Oh no, I missed one. No, no, ah! Wow, 2 at a time? They're just trolling me now. Not cool. This area sucks a lot if you just have the short whip. And then there's a new bad guy here. This horrible little dragon skeleton thing, although fortunately I made short work of it. So yeah, now I get to go into the Frankenstein fight with pretty much no health. That's awesome. And I stupidly gave up my holy water. That's even more awesome. So you have to hit the head of these guys to kill them, and you have to avoid the fireballs. Obviously I'm not doing a good job of either. So now I get to take on Frankenstein with low health and a crappy weapon. God bless America. So it's actually not the monster himself that's difficult, it's the stupid little guy he flies around, runs around with. But you can't hurt the little jumping idiot. He's the worst. Oh, he's gonna hit me. Oh. Alright. Screw you guys. I can pretty much tell you this is where this this run-through is going to end. Oh right, I have a short whip. Oh, so sad. So if this goes badly enough, I may just jump over to a different Castlevania game, because I don't think you want to see me play the same level over and over again. I really don't. I guess I could do a save state here, but that just seems so cheap. Yeah, what the hell. Why not? I have no pride. The way I've been playing, it's going to be a lot of reloads before I see the end of this fight. Ah, I was doing so well, too. Damn you, Igor. Wow, oh, no, don't, no, no. Holy crap. Well, that was a Christmas miracle. I'm afraid I've used up all my good karma for the day on that one. Alright, and on to the torture chamber, which is named appropriately. I'm going to take on Death, or in theory I'm going to take on Death. We'll see if I can actually get that far into the stage. Frankenstein's fight was actually just a warm-up for the hardest battle in the game, which is Death. It's the worst. So as you can see, there's lots of dead bodies around here. Lots of manacles, skulls, little grates where there's probably people held captive, having blood drawn out of them. It's really upbeat, nice and Nintendo-ish. But I guess since everything's kind of like a neon blue, sort of a soft lavender, it doesn't seem quite so horrible. You know, there are no sampled screams of the dying or anything like that, so I guess it's all about, you know, the antiseptic appearance of it. Alright, the red bones are new. Those guys are really terrible. They refuse to die permanently. You can knock them down, but then they get back up. Apparently they're skeletons who are made immortal by absorbing the blood of the fallen. It's terrible. I didn't even need that meat, and now I can't get up to there. Oh, how sad. So after you get out of the torture chamber, it actually, the stage kind of, the design changes, and it becomes more like an alchemy lab, which is pretty interesting. Oh, nice. So these armored guys, I was sort of referring to them, the Axe Knights. When you have the boomerang, you actually can't hurt the knights themselves. You have to break away their shield with the boomerang, which takes a few hits. I don't want that. Come on, get out of here. But the holy water makes short work of them because the holy water makes short work of everyone. It's the best. I'll be very sad if I lose my triple holy water before I make it death. Although a triple boomerang will work in a pinch. So those are like beakers or something in the back? I don't know. There's mummy sarcophagi. Then there's like crazy Van der Graaf generators in the background. This stage is really interesting. Oh! Ah! What am I doing? There we go. Oh, yeah, that comes in handy now. Well, I guess it does. Okay. Complaint rescinded. That does not come in handy. What is that? That's some kind of joke. Actually, I think that was a weapon multiplier, which of course I don't need because you can only get up to a triple. Oh wow, I got another 1-up. How about a little fire scarecrow? So it's really hard to use the sub-weapons on the staircases, as you might have noticed, because to use a sub-weapon you press up and attack, and of course when you press up you turn around and go up the staircase. Alas. Alright, so this is the sort of last segment before the Grim Reaper. I don't know how well it's going to go for us, but we'll find out. I think there's a piece of meat hidden somewhere in this area. I can't remember where. It's been a while. Should I get that? Nah. Oh, come on. The physics of this game. Very, specific. Oh, really? Whatever. No! Oh! Oh, the game just ended. Sorry, everyone. That's it for this live stream. A random dagger dropped out of nowhere because the video game hates me. So yeah, this isn't going to go very well. I could use up all my hearts trying to kill this guy. Oh. I don't even know why I'm bothering. There's no way I'm going to beat death with just a stupid dagger. Especially with that little health. Yeah, I'm just giving up. Okay. Let's just call it quits. There we go. Alright. Okay, so... that just blew my mojo. Looks like I'm gonna have to do this stage all over again. Oh. Anyway, so for those of you just joining in to watch me die horribly, hi, I'm Jeremy Parrish. You're watching USgamer's retro live stream for, what the hell is today? October 30th, right. Because we're so close to Halloween, I'm doing a Castlevania stream. The kids demand it. And, I was kind of hoping to be able to beat this game, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. If you're hearing sirens in the background, that's because I live in a high crime zone. Everyone's dying around me. So, if I do this right, I can get some... Oh, pfft. Yeah. I can get some weapon modifiers from killing Medusas and Axe Knights, but clearly I'm not doing this right, so... Why even bother? That's just the saddest thing. Kind of tempted to pick end, but I guess I should try at least one continue. If this doesn't work, though, let's play some other Castlevania game together. I could play Simon's Quest, which is the game where it's pretty much impossible to die. Or I could play Castlevania 3, which is similar to Castlevania, but is way cooler looking. I think I might do that, actually. Castlevania 3 is awesome. I don't know. You guys got to see me pull one out of my ass with the Frankenstein battle, so I kind of feel like there's been enough magic for one night. Still feel like there should be something in those rocks, bricks, whatever. I'm going to pause really fast and take a look at the chat just to answer any questions that have come along. Let's see. No questions have come along. There's just lots of fun banter. Go forward, Simon. What are you doing? The Wii U Virtual Gamepad has some weird tendencies with the crosspad. Like, you might have noticed me throwing sub-weapons when it didn't make any sense. It's because it seems to register up and down when you don't really mean to press those buttons. Yes, I'm blaming my tools here because I'm a poor craftsman. I made the same mistake there. I got the me before I jumped up on the platform. So sue me. That's kind of handy. Oh no, no, so sad. Oh, so double sad. So yeah, I'm just fighting through the same area you saw me fight through before. It's very exciting. So as an interesting factoid about this game, since I don't have anything interesting to say about what you're actually seeing right now, Castlevania was originally released in Japan on the Famicom Disk System, which was you know, an add-on to their equivalent of the NES. Oh, man. And you could actually save your progress. So in America, you had to play all the way through in a single sitting. Man, this is just the worst. What is going on here? Alright, there we go. But in Japan, you could actually save your game and progress, and so if you got to this part and were really frustrated, you could come back, you know, a couple days later and try all over from this point instead of having to play from the beginning. And the Japanese version of the game actually had a special music theme for the password entry screen that showed up in one of the other games. I think in Rondo of Blood is the password entry screen. I can't remember exactly, but it's kind of like the one piece of Castlevania music that America never got. So doesn't that make you feel special? Alright, onward into the final segment again. I have several lives, so I can squander my existence many times trying to get to death. I will try to at least get to death. I mean, it seems like sort of the minimum I can do. If I killed enough dudes with the boomerang, it'll give me a multiplier. That's always a good tactic. I think those guys count as kills. Let's find out. Let's go whip another candle. No one's ever really explained why Belmonts can... there we go. Alright, can get special power-ups by whipping candles, but it is a special ability they have, and in Castlevania Symphony of the Night... Oh! There we go to that unintentional downward press. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Alucard actually has to collect a special item in order to be able to get stuff from candles, and this is not going well. Yeah. That double up, or double multiplier really does me no good here. That was a carryover from my previous life, because I had killed enough enemies with the boomerang that I decided, oh, well, he's been using a special weapon a lot, we should give him a multiplier. Another multiplier, please? Well, that's something at least. Alright, onward into the Death Hall. I don't remember this being so hard when I was a kid, but I think it was like some sort of idiot savant. This is just sad. I'm sorry to everyone at home watching this. It's just embarrassing, watching a grown man die horribly. Every time I get killed, it blows my mojo. Someone mentioned in chat that the item Alucard gets to collect the items from candles is called the Cube of Zoe, and no one explains who Zoe is. I'm thinking that collecting items from candles is a vast feminist conspiracy. That explains it. Alright. Come on along. I think actually killing candles counts as killing enemies with the toward the score multiplier, the attack multiplier, but that didn't seem to work for me, so never mind. Alright, we'll give this one more shot. See how it goes. There we go. That was nice. Oh. So yeah, at the very end of attacking one of those guys with boomerang, it'll break his shield, and yeah, there we go. And actually kill him. Nice. Still not going to beat death, but at least I'm going to make it to death. So, my obligations here have been completed. I have made it to death. Before giving up. So this guy is just ridiculously hard, because as you can see, he's not playing fair. He's got these little sickles that fly everywhere around the screen. Oh. Up to 4 at a time? Really? Oh, and I'm out of... Oh! Out of boomerangs. I would have won. I would have won. Except, now my game's over. It's very sad. Oh. Yeah, that's great. Let's not even bother. Alright, I'll give it one more try. We'll see how it goes. After this, it's on to some other game. So, final run against death. You almost saw me beat death. I feel like that's good enough. Like, you know, it's a thrill. I got that far. This is free entertainment, folks. Although I do admit that it stretches the definition of entertainment. But I make no apologies. Alright, no modifiers yet, so... Oh! Sad. Alright. Skip that crap. Right. Yes, I'm grinding in the original Castlevania. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Somehow I seem to have lost my ability to whip anything. Oh, come on. Ah, so sad. Alright, let's play something else. This is just embarrassing. So, we're gonna jump on over to Virtual Console. Here we go. Alright. So, on to some other Castlevania game. By God. Wow, there's some really interesting conversation happening in the chat right now. Alright, so we've got 15 minutes left. Let's go ahead and play Castlevania 3 because it's really cool. All the kids should love it. Thanks for watching me struggle with that last level of Castlevania. Let's see. Is there anyone left in the chat? Oh my God, there's a huge number of people watching the stream. Now I'm really terrified. So, anyway, hi everyone. I guess it's time for the station identification break. You're watching USgamer.net's USstreamer for Thursday, the retro stream, Castlevania, and now Castlevania 3 because I wasn't really able to make it through the original Castlevania because it's really hard. So, we're jumping ahead to the third game in the series, which went back from the original game, or the second game's kind of non-linear style, and is basically like a glorified version of the original. So let's call ourselves US. Oops. Wow, that was weird. US. What the hell? Something strange is happening with my name entry here. USG. Alright. Wow, that was bizarre. Okay. So this is the prequel to Castlevania. It takes place, I think, like 300 years before the original game, or 200. This is Simon Belmont's ancestor Trevor, who's different from Simon because he has a cape. Simon was not that cool. Wow, the control configuration is all messed up. Okay, there we go. No wonder this was being weird. That's the dangers of Virtual Console, kids. You never know what's going to happen when you start up a new game. So the mechanics of Castlevania 3 retain most of the same rules as the original Castlevania. As you can see, you get a power-up for your whip, then you get more hearts, then you get another power-up. Your whip gets stronger and longer. And then you climb a cathedral, which is really cool. Of course, this game came out on a special kind of cartridge in Japan, which had extra sound channels, and the music was really great. We just got really, really good music as opposed to really great music. That's another interesting thing about the whip mechanics in this game, and in this series actually, is that when you rear back to whip something, there's actually a little bit of a damage box behind you, so you can hit things that are behind your head. This is not something that comes in handy often, but occasionally it's useful. It's just one of those fun little facts of Castlevania. Alright, we're leaving the cathedral. It's a really strange cathedral. I have no idea why there's just this random cathedral joining two parts of town, and why the top of the cathedral is just, you know, crumbling ruins, but I'm not a Gothic architect, so what do I know? The item, as you can see, I have a holy water, which is pretty much exactly the same as holy water in the original Castlevania. I don't know if we'll make it to the really unique part of Castlevania 3. I think we can, but as you can see, there's a candle up there that I can't get as Trevor. Like, at this point in the game, you can't have an axe, and even if you could throw an axe and hit that candle, you wouldn't be able to get what's inside. That's something you have to get on the second round through the game if you have certain characters in your party. There's companion characters who will team up with Trevor to take on Dracula, if you want. So, as you can see, it's actually a more challenging game. They're already throwing Medusa heads at me here in the first stage. Also, these platforms are really interesting because those blue boxes in there that I just walked over. If you just walk over them, you're fine. But if you jump on them, then they spin and drop you off, which is notable if you get hit onto one of them by a Medusa head, because getting knocked back counts as jumping. So it's possible to be knocked back onto what looks like safe ground and then die horribly, like that. But I managed to persevere somehow. So the Japanese version, like I mentioned, had a special processor, a special chip in it that made the music better. It also made enemies different. So there's some enemies coming up ahead that are different in the American version than in the Japanese version. Again, it doesn't really matter. They behave the same. They just don't look as cool. So the original Castlevania, you were outside the castle for just a brief moment as sort of the prologue to the game, but here you actually fight through a deserted town. Oh, and it's Fleaman. You fight through a deserted town on your way to the castle, and actually a lot of the game involves just making it to the inner castle. There's a lot of territory you have to cross on the way to Castlevania, so it kind of took that influence from Castlevania 2. Anyway, those Fleamen that I was just beating up, those were actually enemies that were changed for the American version. In Japan, they were like these big gargoyles that would jump at you. It looked a lot like Dracula's second form from the original Castlevania. Anyway, like I was saying, the sort of surrounding territory here in Castlevania 3 is really similar to the plot of Castlevania 2, where you were exploring Transylvania trying to round up Dracula's dead body parts, and then at the very end you would return to the ruins of Castlevania. Since this is a prequel to Castlevania, obviously Castlevania is not in ruins. And here we are at the first boss. So as you can see, the levels in this game are much bigger and have much more challenging enemies, wow, than the original Castlevania. And I am not doing a good show here. Alright, there we go. I do like the little death moans for the bosses, though. It's a nice touch. Oh yeah, someone pointed out in the chat, someone pointed out the background elements in this stage also were traced from Castle of Caliostro. I think of it as an homage rather than a ripoff. So, even though this is a linear game, you do have branching paths, and you can go in different directions. So I'm going to go in into the tower, the clock tower, which is actually kind of a dead end, but still kind of a cool little touch. So if you pay attention to the map and the overworld, you'll notice, I don't know if you saw it when I was picking levels, but basically there's a map of the environment surrounding Castlevania, and the path that I took up through the clock tower, the idea is that once you beat the clock tower, then you cross a bridge directly and you're at Castlevania. But that doesn't actually happen, but it's kind of like a little design nod to make you think that you're making the most direct attack on the castle. The path you take determines not only which levels you see, but also which companion characters you get to face, or to team up with, and the bosses you fight. There are some bosses repeated across the different paths, but you don't actually fight the same boss twice in the same path, I don't think, unless I'm forgetting one. So it's a really big game. You can't see the entirety of Castlevania 3 on a single playthrough. You actually can't see it the entire game on 2 playthroughs, because one of the paths in the game actually branches again. So if you want to see the whole thing, you have to play through the game 3 times. This is a cool little effect, something that gets referenced a lot in the later Castlevania games, even Symphony of the Night. Riding those, what are these? Pendulums, yes. Clock pendulums across big open pits. And I think I should be able to make it to the first companion character in the game before the end of this stream, which ends in 10 minutes. So bear with me, and we'll try to get to the coolest feature of Castlevania 3. I think in the Japanese version, because it had the special graphics and sound chip, besides having better music, this level was more animated, which is kind of crazy to say because it's got a lot of animation already. But you know, they get everything cool in Japan that we don't get. Konami loves Japan more than it loves us. But yeah, this is definitely right up at the pinnacle of game design and technology for the original NES. This is pretty much what you bought if you wanted to show off your NES to your friends. Even if they had a Sega Genesis, you could say, yeah, but do you have this? And they would say, no, we have Altered Beast, and then you'd laugh because Altered Beast sucks. But they did have Strider, which was pretty awesome. Alright, so we're on to the last segment of the clock tower here, or the ascent of the clock tower anyway. Tricky jump that I somehow managed to survive. Damn it. Whoop. That was almost really bad. Yeah, so just up ahead is the boss, assuming I don't do something really stupid and die. As you can see, they're not really going easy on the level design this early in the game. You have to make tricky jumps while Medusa heads fly at you. And even though they have a predictable pattern, they always kind of spawn in the most irritating places, which makes them really difficult to deal with. For those of you who hate math, Medusa heads fly in a sine wave pattern, and it's all the more reason to hate math. You are justified in your feelings. Ugh. Alright. Oh. Okay, that was the tough spot, so hopefully I can get onto the boss pretty easily. The dagger sub-weapon sucks, but it does have its uses occasionally. Alright, so it looks like we'll be ending the stream with the big fight versus the Ghost Pirate. Normally I have a better sub-weapon to face him with. The dagger is kind of pathetic. But he's also kind of weak, so works out okay. There we go. Alright, so I managed not to embarrass myself with that particular battle, and I've beaten the Ghost Pirate, who will now transform into a friendly pirate. So at certain points in the game you beat bosses or defeat levels, and you meet these dudes. There's 3 of them in the game. This is the first. And you have the option to team up with them. You can actually play through the game just as Trevor, if you choose Leave Him Behind and do that with all the companion characters, but why would you do that? Unless you just want to say, yes, I beat Castlevania playing solo. He is very fast. And in Transylvania, they shake hands with their left hands. Someone pointed out that Grant here, the character I'm teaming up with, is the only character who's not represented in Dawn of Sorrow's bonus mode, where you play like Castlevania 3. I think I mentioned in last week's stream that the Merchant Hammer was supposed to be the equivalent of Grant. So let's look at Grant really fast before I call it a day on the stream. As you can see, he's short and he jumps really high, but he can also cling to the ceiling. Although, if you let go, then he'll drop. So it's a little tricky to control him, and he's very weak, but it's kind of cool that you can do that. It's sort of level breaking at times. One of the interesting things about Grant is that in Japan, his weapon was actually a throwing knife, as opposed to just a stabbing dagger, and they changed that. Whoa! They changed that for the US because it made him too easy, I guess. This was back when Japanese developers were constantly making American games harder because they were worried about yeah, that's great. They were worried about making losing sales to rentals, so they would always tweak American games to be harder. Anyway, with that really embarrassing gaffe, I think I'm going to call this stream quits. It's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3... Okay, for some reason my controller's not registering the down press. That's not good. Anyway, it's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. There we go. And that means it's time for the stream to end. But I appreciate everyone who stopped by to check out this retro Castlevania stream and to watch me humiliate myself in public. That's not good. Yeah, so Grant can do stuff like that, where he sort of skips past parts of the stage. Takes a little doing, but it works. Yeah, like that. So thanks again for USgamer. I'm Jeremy Parrish. Please subscribe to our Twitch channel. We play new games on Tuesdays and old games on Thursdays. Check out our website because it's cool, and cool people read it, usgamer.net. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. And I seem to be stuck on the gear. There we go. This has been Castlevania, played on Wii U very badly, and it's been fun having you here. Thanks, everyone.